Hello, I'm Extra and welcome back to episode of my Minecraft Xbox Update Adventures Let's Play. This is the Let's Play where I'm playing through the various updates that have come out for Minecraft Bedrock Edition, building stuff, killing stuff, and of course, destroying stuff. And in today's episode, I wanted to finally get something right that's been really just messed up for quite some time. But again, the big theme of the month, or theme of the year, or theme of the quarter, let's say, has been really working and improving a lot of the stuff that's been broken for a really long time in this world. And one of those things is this big water pool over here. You can kind of spot it if I go flying into the sky, but just looking down, you can see the water is a mess. It's not smooth, it's not clear, it's just a big old problem, and I figured let's fix that problem because it's not actually too hard. All I have to do is stack up some, blocks below it, make the water go flow, and then I can remove the blocks below, and then suddenly it will have a nice smooth area, and I feel like, let's just do that. Let's get that out of the way. So that's what we're doing in today's video, doing that as well as a little bit of something else that I've realized in this general area, because this area needs some work. That's just something I've learned and come to appreciate. So to do and to fix that, we're just going to be placing some blocks under the surface and making this kind of area look a bit more like a modern ocean. Again, one of the things I love about having a world so old is the fact that there's so many, new things in here that, from new updates, but also you can see the world gen is really old biomes. This is TU5 or 1.8 beta biomes, so before they shifted them all, before they changed things. There's a lot of, in my opinion, really exciting kind of cool changes that you can see here, and I kind of like that personally. Also, how did this even happen? I kind of want to leave it now just because it's impressive, but, there's a lot of cool things that happen, and one of those things actually is oceans. So oceans have changed so many times, or I guess this is a lake more often than an ocean, but by Minecraft 360 standards, this was an ocean that I've covered up mostly with dirt. But yeah, this was an ocean at one point in time. Oh, I blew this up, by the way. That's why there's this going everywhere. There used to be an island in the ocean. I wasn't having any of that, but then I didn't properly fix things. But yeah, this used to be an ocean, and it used to be like a dirt kind of ocean with a little bit of sand in. And yeah, then oceans became gravel-based, which was the worst time in Minecraft's history. And now they're sometimes gravel, sometimes sand, sometimes other stuff. So having a mixture of sand and dirt in an ocean, it makes for a cool old style thing, and that's one of the key things I like about this world. It's kind of like a TU5 seed, or like a 1.8 seed, however you want to say that thing, and I've always liked that personally. So yeah, in today's video, we'll be working mostly on this and just other things in this general area, and I hope you do all enjoy / appreciate that one. But in the meantime, let's talk about what I've been up to this past week, because one of the big things that I guess people have been asking, that people have been saying, etc., is I mentioned that I was robbed in the Friday video. It was admittedly it was like a funny title, just like I was robbed, but the new biome does look great. But a lot of people saw that and then saw I mentioned in Q&A Saturday very briefly, and they're like, you don't seem to be sad about losing your stuff. And I wanted to talk about that a little bit, because it has been something on my mind a lot this past week, and I guess I'm going to say, again, I personally wanted to just be like, look, this is the sort of thing you can get over. It's hard to get over, but you kind of need to. If I'm sad, especially outwardly sad about something, what does that really help with something? And I personally do believe this is a controversial belief, so do not, again, this is not gospel, this is not how everyone works, but personally I think the more outwardly you show something, the more it will inwardly affect you. If you say man, I sure am sad, I was just robbed, and I was like, oh, you can be sad, you were just robbed, you're like, I will be sad. At least that's how my brain works. Maybe I'm broken socially or something like that, but it's always been, oh, have we finally done that? But it's always been one of the things where the more you outwardly dwell on something, the more it can inwardly affect you, counterintuitively. That's how my mind always seems to have worked, at least a little bit. And because of that, I've always figured, why do that? Let's try our best to be the version of me I'd like to be, and then if it doesn't work, we can work through that. But that's why I try to be positive. Being robbed sucks, and I personally don't think even losing this stuff is the worst bit. I generally do think that it's the huge distrust in humans or whatever. And I was thinking about something. So this is going to be the point where everyone's like, man, Toy Cat, I don't understand or trust or believe you or whatever. But honestly, this sounds ridiculous. But even though I lost a laptop, which is gonna cost close to 2,000 to replace, to get another one, etc. Even though that's a huge loss, and thinking about it really hurts me. Even right now, it's man, that I'm set back that far just because some person wanted to steal some money for drugs or whatever. That sucks. That's a problem. That's not good. I want to clarify, I don't feel good about that. I don't think anyone can feel good about having things stolen. But I mean, honestly, the thing that actually hurts me a little bit worse right now, as I think about it, is still, so I don't know if I told this story in the Let's Play or a live stream or whatever, but when I was in Andorra, I was flying back, and in the airport, a guy comes up to me and he's like, oh, I was, just there too, but sadly my card was cloned, so I have no way to pay, because I need to, we got to the wrong terminal, we missed our flight, we need to change it to a later flight. He said a lot of stuff, and it sounded convincing. It was backed up, viewer Vueling is the name of the airline. They really do charge that amount. So I was like, okay, you know, I really hate giving money to people, but he seems legit, and he said he'd pay me back. He gave me his email and everything, and so yeah, I gave him 20 euros, and I'm like, you know, that guy, he's good. He's gonna pay back. What a good thing I've done. And then the moment he doesn't, I send him an email, and he doesn't respond or acknowledge it. It's like, oh, okay, that guy was just either, like, he just figured, like, why go through the effort of paying someone back? I already have the money. I can kind of keep the bonus now. And it's like, man, that guy, you know, like, for no particularly good reason, I'm sure he didn't need to. He looked like he was, you know, if you're going to Andorra, you're probably not just on the edge, especially if you're flying with your wife, etc. Man, that guy screwed me for no reason. That, honestly, again, this is, a lot of people don't like hearing this, but I think that honestly hurts me a little bit more than the like being robbed. Because when someone steals something from you, the circumstances are usually... Also, why are there bubbles here? The circumstance... Oh, it's the cat drowning. I'm sorry, cat. But, like, you know, the circumstances under which, you know, someone steals from you, it's like, yeah, probably quite desperate. I don't think, at least most people, especially given the circumstances I was in, it was an opportunist thief. Like, again, the whole situation was so ridiculous. It was someone who was being opportunist, but clearly was willing to take a huge risk or whatever. And you don't usually take huge risks for bags that could have nothing in them. Most people's baggage is pretty worthless. Like, I mean, obviously it's worth more than anything else you can take. But, like, you know, when you go for a risk like that, it's like, okay, I get it. You don't know the person you're screwing, so it's kind of harder to deal with that yourself. Whereas, you know, that person knew exactly the 22 or 21-year-old, however old I was when that happened. The man who, you know, didn't pay me back despite many promises of doing so, and despite the fact that I only, you know, was lending the money because I was like, oh, he's definitely going to do it. I'm helping a guy out who's in a similar situation. That guy knew exactly what he was doing. He just had a moment where he was like, you know, actually, I did say I would do something, but I won't. There was an actual loss of trust there versus, again, society. You can't really trust society anyway. I wish you could. I'm sure in some countries you can, but it's just a known thing. Like, when you live in a big place, you can't trust everyone individually. You can trust the collective good, usually, sometimes, let's say. You can trust the collective good of people, but you can't trust any individual specifically. You have to build up a trust. You know, there's a reason we have a trust system in that whole kind of thing, because you can't trust everyone by default. Also, I think we have now fixed the ocean finally. It was actually surprisingly easy. Yeah, if you look at that, besides maybe just over here, yeah, there's one last gap. We fixed this, and now we've got a perfect ocean. So next up, we're gonna start working on the little pass over there, because I need to dig through that. And yeah, so am I upset that I lost my stuff? Very. It's a problem. It's huge. I don't think I'm going to go skiing for a very long time now, because I don't have the stuff I need, and it's expensive to buy, and I already have to, you know, like, this is affecting my life in a big way. I don't like it. But I think also, when you, again, like, in my opinion, I don't know if this is true. This is bad advice. Please do talk to people if you feel bad about something. I'm sure most people are very different to me. But in my opinion, if you allow other people to allow you to dwell on something, to be sad about something, then it will just be an opportunity for you to be like, man, I think the term people use, I hate this. It's one of the things that, like, irks me, but, like, feeling sorry for yourself is what people call this. And it's like, I mean, you know, I don't know why, but, like, just the connotations of it I really don't like. But I think it is a little bit true, right? If you allow yourself to just sit there and be like, I'm sad, and I'm justifiably sad, then you will be justifiably sad. But it's not, you know, just being allowed to be sad isn't enough of a reason to be sad. And that's why I've always been like, you know, okay, this has happened. Let's move on. Let's, you know, like, try and make things better with myself or whatever. And that's kind of the goal. Also, by the way, I really like this little mountain gap I've made. I want it to be clear that I've made a gap between the mountains, but also make it clear that you can walk through here. Because I always forget. I always just go through the house anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, first of all, well, I guess make this thing. We're going to make, like, little underhangs from all the cliffs. Because I think, one, I'll get some stone, which I need right now anyway. And two, it'll hopefully kind of widen the look while still from the outside. Like, if you look at the top, it's like, oh yeah, tiny gap. But on the inside, you can see, like, oh, there's a whole pathway down here. That's the plan, by the way. So yeah, again, bad advice of Toy Cat. I think sometimes, though, some of the best advice might be bad advice. Because everyone works differently. And the generic advice society gives you is always going to be tailored to everyone. I've said this before, but, like, you know, it's pro tip. Like, you know, like, if you have a headache, it's probably not anything. Don't go to the doctor. But on an individual level, if you know X, Y, and Z about your circumstances, it might be something. It's bad if everyone goes to the doctor. It doesn't save enough lives. But, you know, in your particular case, where you value your life, you know, like, it's one of those interesting things. There's a lot of weird things going on with that, and I find that to be fascinating. So, yeah, just want to say one more time, I was robbed, it sucks, it's not good. It's twice in 1 year, and both times, insurance, different insurance from the same provider, have managed to weasel out of it, basically, with garbage, with absolute nonsense that makes no sense. In this case, it was something like line of sight determines this one wording in the policy. You know, like, because it's like if you were to leave your luggage somewhere and then come back and it wasn't there, they obviously said, like, well, we can't cover that. And obviously, you know, just because you were right there in the same train as it, you know, train carriage even as it, when it was stolen, that's not technically on you because you didn't physically touch and see it. And it's like, what the... whatever. Anyway, so I think I've said this before, but, like, insurance is... so, yeah, I've actually, you know, this is the worst part to me. Again, besides... the guy who stole it, again, I don't know the guy's name, don't know what he looks like. Maybe I will do when the CCTV, or, you know, is analysed or whatever. But the truth is, the honest, sad truth for the whole situation is I don't know that guy. And again, I kind of understand his take on this whole thing. But, like, I've said this before and it really upsets me. Like, when it comes to, one, the way insurance handles stuff, I know this is a key part in how insurance needs to work, where they need to desperately try not to pay your claim. But then that means that, like, you know, like, when insurance isn't insurance, because insurance should give you the peace of mind that you're paying more money over time to cover temporary risks. Like, how many times is my phone going to be stolen in my life? Probably not even once on average. But, you know, I got unlucky the one time, and I could cover that with, say, an insurance. But when it gets to the point that, like, you can't trust insurance to pay out, which now I can't. I've had two events in my... Actually, three. I had a phone broken once, and it was covered by the same thing. So I've had 3 events where I needed insurance, and one time it's worked. And it's like, so I pay the money, and then 1/3 of the time you pay for the thing that is meant to give me peace of mind. That's not peace of mind. That's playing... That's not even roulette, you know. That's not even black or red. That's taking a horrific gamble. And it's like, well, that clearly just isn't a good thing. That's why there needs to be, but there can't be, an insurance company that's like, oh yeah, we'll just always pay out. Like, as long as you can prove you were materially damaged, we'll pay out some portion of it, because then everyone who's going to commit insurance fraud does it with that particular insurance company. So it's like, okay, so you're just kind of done. It's awful. I have even, by the way, it's worth mentioning, because I actually have a super good travel insurance policy. It's according to again, like a lot of places online, it's like the best one you can get with a particular thing. Like, again, but for my situation, it was the best one I could get, and even then, it doesn't work. And it's like, what do you do in that case? You just accept the, like, okay, you're screwed. Do I start, like, making my own insurance policy? Because if I just pay myself insurance money instead, then eventually at least I'll get some of that money back when something bad happens. So yeah, the way you know, like, insurance responds to a bad situation, I think is bad, because again, if one of the things of, like, you know, once you've filed a police report, it's become a real serious event thing, right? And then also, like, you know, like, I clearly don't have the thing that I had before. I have all the proof that one would need to make a claim, to make a judgment, like video of it before and after, etc. So yeah, my point here is just like, man, it's the way these things are structured suck. And also, so again, so this whole video is just like, I got mugged. I want to get my feelings out there. Is that okay? Can we vent for a bit? I hope so. But one of the other things is, so one of the first things I did off my bag stolen was I called the police. And you know what the police did? They said, sorry, this is not an emergency number. Please call the non-emergency police. And it's like, but this needs to be dealt with now. You have minutes to find, like, if there's a guard in this, you know, a transport officer in the station, he needs to look for this guy now. You know, there is a minute or two and then he's left the station. It's a very big station. And you know, like, and maybe he's like, you know, checking the bag inside there. There's always a chance. But, you know, every minute you wait is just taking this away. And it's like, oh yeah, non-emergency. It's like, okay, well, that's bad. And then the non-emergency police are like, because this happened on a train, do you know who you have? If you've seen all my Let's Play episodes, this is going to be a familiar name to you. It's the British Transport Police, whose jurisdiction this is under. That's right, there's a police specifically for transport. They really, like, you know, it's like a joke in the UK of, like, how they have very few powers, and most of their powers are to help train companies, like, enforce their fares. I've had an issue where there was no person selling tickets on the train before, on a train where you needed people to sell tickets, and they basically, you know, like, said, like, oh, you must have gone on somewhere else. You know, basically, they screw you so hard in every situation. They're immediately there, you know, to try and catch you to get the money out of you. But in the reverse situation, like, oh yeah, desperately need them, it's like, oh yeah, call them up at 2 a.m. And there's a woman in a help desk who has like a data entry form, like for a website, and she's just typing in the thing slowly, like, okay, so where did it happen? When did it happen? Now, 10 minutes ago. Okay, 10 minutes ago. So would that be 2:30? Yes, it's 2:40 now, so 2:30 roughly. Thank you. And it's like, that, like again, I wasn't actually yelling. I'm not that person who yells about things, because I feel like that makes you a crazy person. No offense, crazy people. But yeah, so it was a horrific thing. I wanted Sherlock Holmes, but I got a data entry manager at 2 a.m. that didn't really want to be doing their job. And yeah, by the time it's done, and then they're like, okay, what was in there? And I said, everything valuable. Anything else? Maybe clothes? And I said, yes, there were clothes in there. I'll write down clothes. It's like, that's gonna help this mystery be solved. If now that you know there's clothes in the bag, which again, they're the thing I care about the least. Like, clothes are super dispensable. If you ever spot me and you're gonna rob me personally because I'm Toy Cat, rob my clothes. Honestly, like I don't care. Like I probably need new clothes anyway. In fact, I definitely need new clothes. Sure, give me an excuse to get new ones. But everything else is like, this is valuable stuff I need in my life, you know? There's a reason I bought it in the first place. There's a reason I own a laptop, and I travel with it, because I need that to do certain things. So, yeah, it's the worst thing. Just that kind of like, when there's an offense being committed against a large company, this exact same police are there to be like, aha, I bet, that no benefit of the doubt in the slightest, just immediately cracking down as hard as you can. They had like 3 officers employed at this station just to try and catch people. And it's like, oh yeah, so actual crime against actual person, like right now. And they're like, we'll get to it. 3 days later, they call me and they're like, oh, so I've just read over this report. It's the first time someone's done it. And we need to know precisely which train you were on. And it's like, I said very clearly, where the train was, etc. But it took them that many days to even look at it and say, oh, actually, that's a thing. And it's like 5 days later, there is no chance of ever catching this ever. Like, either it was returned to lost property because the thief lost it, or it's gone forever. Like, all the things, maybe the guy left it outside the station somewhere. But it's just like, okay, that's just what's happened then, is it? that's just how these things are. And it's, I don't know why that upsets me so much, but just the whole, like, it's almost like a double standard, like you're expected to follow one set of societal rules, whereas maybe you get one set of protection, but then like the exact same the exact same branch of police, I don't know if they're a branch of the police or they're a separate thing, have also, like, for things I didn't do wrong, go crazy hard on the enforcement about it. And it's like, okay, yep, that's, you know how in rural areas, everyone distrusts the police. It's just a thing. I don't know if you, I'm sure this is true in America too, but in the UK at least, like, wait, I know this one. It's like, all coppers are bastards or something like that. There's an abbreviation for it, like, people hate police, and sometimes you start to appreciate why, right? Like, I think what it must be though is, like, most crimes are kind of, so again, lots of people will be like, oh, it's only like police funding or whatever. But the truth is, it's just like, there are some crimes that take a lot of effort to achieve very little end result. Like, being stolen from isn't a violent thing. It's just someone has something that's yours. Trying to go after that is kind of hard. I guess I get that. But then at least, like, you probably should have trust that these people that can, at any time, do anything to you, basically. That's basically the power we give police. Are also, or, going to do bad things. Anyway, so there you go. Toy Cat. Toy Cat did a thing. And, let's speak of stealing a little bit. Because, I think I mentioned a few episodes ago, I do casual stealing a lot. Like, I put my chocolate croissant through as a regular croissant for, say, 14p. I sometimes will steal, like, a single vegetable. I'm like the lowest level rebel thief out there. And let me just say, I've never been, I don't get caught. I once actually, like, so again, this is, I know this is gonna, like, counteract everything else I've said, but, like, again, let me be honest with you here. So, I once, even as a kid, I stole, like, a chocolate ball from a shop, and I felt so much guilt about it, that, like, every time I heard police, I'd be like, oh man, they're coming after me, for, like, a year afterwards. Imagine that, like, the police being like, aha, a year ago we caught this guy who's done it, let's go to the boy's house and lock him up right now. That's not a thing that happens. But yeah, I think the real fact to take away from all these sorts of things is, like, theft in society is basically okay. It's basically just a part of what happens, it seems. Oh, actually, one other thing. Okay, so one of the most insane things, I think, at least a lot of people will hear this and be like, man, Toy Cat, I used to understand what you're saying, but this is the part where you lost me. So this is where I'm going to lose you a lot. But one of the things I love about humanity is our ability to work together to achieve good things for both individuals. This is going to sound like some weird capitalism point, but like, I love that like two people, you know, like if people do things with each other that generally speaking, you know, I'm sure there are exploitative situations, but generally speaking, humans, when they require the services of other humans, it's good for both people. You know, that's most times in most of life. Again, that's my opinion. I'm sure you can disagree. But the thing about this that sucks, so like, you know, like if I sold a laptop I didn't need anymore and I got some money for it, that's great because, you know, I have some money, they have a laptop for cheaper than otherwise. It's a good thing for both parties. Most things most humans do on a daily basis, unless you're addicted to drugs or something, are beneficial for both parties. I love that. I absolutely love the way society makes people happen like that. I don't like people, but I like that people work together almost unwittingly, almost without wanting to make better outcomes. So again, there's a lot of things like that. But in the case of like stealing a laptop, they took 2,000 something in value from me, and they must have got like a few hundred at most, because it's a really bad laptop. Like it's sorry, a really bad condition laptop. Like it's scuffed everywhere. It's a very bad condition laptop. And the fact that they, you know, like it's such an inefficient transaction that really does bug me. Like, you know, again, in most situations, if it's like, okay, I'm gonna hire a guy to be a bodyguard for me or something, I get safety, he gets money, or whatever, you know, example you might be thinking of. But in the case of this, I lost again 5 times what he gained. And I think that's the problem with like non-consensual societal interaction. So yeah, that's my only problem with relief of theft. But it seems to be one of the things we just accept as a society, right? Again, there are ways to prevent it, and we don't usually go for them. And I guess now in the future, one of the things that so having my phone stolen made me realize, like, okay, zipped up or buttoned up pockets, because not that it was stolen in that way, but it's like, oh yeah, people want your phone. It's the most valuable thing you have on you at any given time. Probably your phone. Someone's gonna want that. Make sure that's a thing. And then basically, so that's a important little thing, like get some zipped up things. And the other thing is like, okay, so get some GPS trackers on my stuff. Not that I'm sure that would do much. I literally had a GPS tracker on my phone. I showed the police where it was, and they're like, oh, we don't cover that. It's dangerous. That's what happened with my phone, by the way, recently. It was also, why am I just putting this back? I'm not understanding what I'm doing here. But yeah, so fun fact of Toy Cat. Theft. A lot of people think I'm too cheery about things, but I think when it comes to some stuff, you know, what are you going to do? Just like dwell on it and feel negative and bad all day? Or to use the awful society term, which I disagree with, you're going to feel sorry for yourself. And I don't think that's a good idea personally. But yeah, with that said, I think we should probably go back in for one last night maybe. Is that a good idea? I guess it's a good idea. So yeah, we've made some good progress on this too. Again, if you look at this area, it's such a mess, or it was a mess. I think it's less so now. Like we probably need to remove that island too. Like that's a weird island to just keep there. And then we'll have a nice little body of water. Or maybe I could I'm going to be really careful about mobs behind me. But maybe I could do something else, I'm not sure. So yeah, basically, one of the other things I want to mention before the end here are, first of all, so I stole this past week, and I stole an eye appointment. So let me tell you about a story, and I want you to know if I should feel bad about this one in the slightest. Because I was at the eye doctor. We call them the, what is it actually called? Optometrist? Opticians. We call them the opticians in the UK. I was at an optician's recently, getting my my contact lenses to be precise, checked. An eye doctor like a week ago recommended like, hey, you wear these types of contacts, and you know they're potentially really dangerous, so just come every year just in case. So I was like, sure, if an eye doctor tells you something, you're gonna trust said eye doctor. So anyway, so I decided to trust the guy. I was like, okay, I'm gonna come back in, gonna check out what's up, and I get in there, and they have no record of my appointment. They're like, okay, we'll sort it out. You clearly think you're meant to be here. We'll get a doctor going for you. And then about half an hour in, or 35, 40 minutes in, I go up to the desk and I'm like, hey, so do you remember I'm here? Because, it's been 40 minutes and you said wait 5. And they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. It's literally, this is your doctor right here. And the guy literally was there, so I came at the right moment apparently. So sorry, etc., etc., etc. So the guy clearly is just doing like an additional thing. He doesn't realize he's meant to be scheduled in. He's just helping out a patient who thinks he's meant to be there. That was very nice of the doctor. It was actually a really helpful discussion as well. Also, there is a cave down here. It was a really helpful discussion in general too. Like, oh yeah, so he explained how different brands have different things and how like, oh yeah, so the brand you're buying, you know, we don't like to admit this as a company. It's exactly the same as the one we sell. We get it specifically branded because that's just how, you know, that's how opticians make their money. How much do you pay? Yeah, we charge more than that, but sometimes we don't. And, you know, it was a very honest doctor, which I really liked personally. And so then at the end of the thing, you know, my eyes are great, I'm feeling good. I go to the place to pay, and they're like, oh, okay then. Oh, you're not in here, it seems. And she struggles for like another, let's say, 40 seconds, and then she just like whispers to me, I think you should just go. And I was already thinking in my head, like, you know, I could just probably walk out right now. And so I went and I stole an eye appointment. It was kind of under her instructions. Like we were accomplices, and it was kind of like a bank heist, but we were stealing like, you know, an eye, again, an eye appointment instead of, I mean, money like you would from a bank. But yeah, technically speaking, that was stealing. The business did not get money for the activity which they performed, which they do need equipment, which has ongoing costs for. But it doesn't feel like stealing, right? It doesn't. I would argue it's not even stealing. And I think that's one of the weird, like, double standards, almost, of society sometimes. One of the things that this year has been a bad one for me and for having things stolen from me. I try not to let it get me too down about society, because I'm a very paranoid person. And I hate that, like, this justifies my paranoia. I don't want to be... I want to be wrong about everything I'm paranoid about. You know how when you think, like, you know, do your friends like you, or are you just the worst? And you're like, actually, you know, it's better if you don't think about that question, because maybe your friends do hate you. You know, you right now watching this, your friends probably hate you. I'm joking, of course. But, you know, like, it's better not to think about it, because even if there's a chance it's true, the insanity of wondering is going to make you a less valuable friend anyway. You know, there's a chance that the paranoia itself brings upon that, and also like paranoia is a big stress on you as a, you know, like it's a big use of human resources that probably could be better directed elsewhere if we're being entirely honest. So yeah, basically my point here is just that, you know, don't give in to the paranoia and fear. Even when something bad happens, I think it's probably still best just not to. I think it's better for your brain, for your soul, for your mind, for everything else. And yeah, I think that's a good place to kind of end today. This last week, I stole something. I had something stolen. There was 2 orders of magnitude in difference between between the first thing and the second thing. But they were both, I know, it was kind of a thing. So yeah, that's my past week with Toycat. I went to Italy / Switzerland. Like, technically I went to both countries because I skied over the border. Really cool thing. You can expect to see some videos on Toycat and the third channel, Andrew Andrews. You know, like McDonald's review, and I tried to do like a ski vlog, a few different things. So it's been a fun week regardless of those things. It's just, you know, the heaviest thing on my mind has been that, as you can probably imagine. And next week, I want to give you this warning right now, because I know there's going to be a fair number of people deeply confused. So my editor had the weirdest idea for a Let's Play, and I was like, man, that is... Basically, the editor was like, you got to do this, and I was like, you know, we've had a lot of good ideas together. I don't know about this one, but I'm going to do it. So next week is going to be a weird Let's Play episode. I'm just going to warn you right now. I'm looking forward to it because it's just the... Again, what I'm liking on YouTube recently is I've been doing a lot of, like, different stuff. And actually, I've been really liking the different kind of feel. My channel's always been, I would say, variety within Minecraft. Like, I guess variety channel implies you're playing different games, but my channel's always been, like, kind of variety, but, like, without the whole, like, you know, like, it's been variety of Minecraft. Like, sometimes I'm working on redstone, sometimes it's tutorials on how to break the game, sometimes it's tutorials, you know, just in general, teaching you how to farm, etc. Sometimes it's mega builds, sometimes it's speedrunning the game. I love the variety of things, because, you know, I like to wake up and just be like, what would I like to do? What would I find enjoyable inside Minecraft? That's what I make my videos for, and that's why I'm looking forward to next week's Let's Play, because yeah, the Let's Play is one of the most consistent formats on this channel, and I do want to keep it consistent in general, but I figured let's do a fun one-off episode, which I feel like I've hyped too much now. Again, it's gonna be terrible. Don't watch it, you won't like it. And there we go. Now I've counteracted all the good that I've done in accidentally hyping it. So yeah, the other thing, okay, so that's something you shouldn't be hyped for, is next week's Let's Play, so sorry about that. But something you should be hyped for because it took me all day. I did a 14-hour recording session earlier in the week, and it's in this Let's Play world. I went to go find a stronghold, and I tried to destroy the entire thing. By hand. It was, it's an experience that I hope you're all looking forward to. Because again, the journey was, it was a journey. You know, we went on a journey, we went on an adventure, and I'm looking forward to sharing it with you in, like, I don't know, later this week, I hope. Again, it takes a long time to edit. It's 14 hours of footage that, again, the editor has to go through. Yeah, I've been really enjoying things on the channel recently. I hope you have as well. And I hope that you never have something stolen from you, because it's not a good feeling. And statistically speaking, me getting robbed means someone out there didn't have to get robbed. So that's something, there's the positivity we need today. I got robbed, so you didn't need to. And yeah, you're welcome, I guess. So thank you very much for watching episode 374 or something like that. I know, lots of episodes, maybe too many you could say. But I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next one. Goodbye.